Next, we have a couple information items, and the first is the superintendent update.
Thank you, President Johnson and trustees. We have just a variety of topics in the superintendent's update. Of course, we share these out in written form as well. Our district-wide culturally responsive teaching series occurred last Wednesday. I believe Trustee Gaynor and perhaps another trustee or two were able to be there with us. It was a great session with about 2,000 of our team members present together on that virtual session. Secondly, very grateful to hear from Dr. Kellstrom, trustees. This is hot off the press as of yesterday, that the Ann Arbor Public Schools has been awarded an E-rate Emergency Connectivity Fund Award of $2.2 million. We thought last year, we applied for it quite a while ago, and we thought last year that it would be $90,000. We recently received an update that it's going to be $2.2 million. This will help to cover the associated fees with the 6,000 Chromebook devices that you all approved last year and are out in the hands of students now being used. So good news there. Ms. Liz Margolis also received word this week on a grant that she applied for several months ago, a FEMA grant to reimburse us for PPE and supplies. This was a grant that we had originally been denied on, but FEMA updated their award criteria and we were able to get 40,000 of the 47,000 we applied for. So that will help for us to put our general fund monies to more important purposes since we're able to use the grant money. I wanted to share a transportation update. I appreciate those who commented this evening regarding transportation. I have shared this information in weekly updates. I give the exact numbers of drivers that we have hired, the number of drivers who are in training, because we do want to provide clear and transparent and specific information for folks. At this time, most of our 100 routes are being served each morning, and on most mornings they are running on time. The Durham team currently has about 90 drivers on full-time duty, so you can do the math, trustees. That means they're about 10 drivers short. We have 5 available from the leadership team who are driving every day. And then we have 15 drivers in training. And those drivers in training are making progress, and we expect to bring them onto duty in the coming weeks. Unfortunately, trustees, as you can tell, the cushion for substitute drivers still remains thin. So that's where we continue to have our challenge, and we look forward to being able to get these 15 drivers in and additional drivers, because it is those mornings when we have a call in of an employee, whether the employee is ill or this week, at least 2 drivers had sick children at home. Those kinds of things do cause a delay. But overall, we are consistently delivering our students far better than we were at the very beginning of the year. This is a result really of aggressive recruiting, realignment of hourly wages, and I thank you, trustees, for your support of that move late last summer. So we were able to get those things in place. We have really now only 2 routes that remain combined, and that does cause the students to be a little bit late, and we don't like that. We want to improve and repair that situation. So as soon as these 15 drivers come through, they will be assigned to the 2 combined routes. Other areas of staffing, and I have included staffing progress updates in our weekly update emails. Trustees will review those areas again this evening. We have aligned pay, hourly pay, salary, and benefits across positions across the entire Ann Arbor Public Schools system so that our positions are competitive in hourly rates and in benefits and in salaries across Ann Arbor and across Southeast Michigan. Of course, we always want to do more, and trustees, we're always in those discussions in preparing for how we can do the very best that we can. So we are seeing results from that work to align salaries and benefits, to aggressively recruit, to facilitate virtual job fairs. We've had several of those since school has opened. Our special education teachers, we have filled all of those positions with the exception of 2 at high school. So significant progress there, and we continue to aggressively recruit for those 2 positions. We are still short paraprofessionals, very important members of our team, and we will continue in that recruitment. In preparing for more staff absences this year, trustees, it's an issue we've been talking about in preparing for this year because we knew that not only with COVID, but seasonal illnesses and our team, it works very hard, but they do have to miss school on occasion. In preparing for that, we raised our sub rates to the highest in the county. One other organization raised theirs to match ours, but we are above those rates. We provided full-time building subs, 5 to every elementary school and 6 to every secondary school. We did that last summer with your support, and those substitutes are available and help out every day, and of course, they've been needed every day. In addition, members of our team regularly give up their planning periods, and we also redeploy staff across the district to meet the needs on days when we are stretching very short in every way possible. Our substitute guest teacher team is larger than it has ever been. Trustees, as of Monday, it changes every day, but as of Monday, we have 687 active teacher subs who've come through the application process, and they are ready to be deployed on duty. Of course, those subs aren't necessarily available every day. They're available on some days. So we do have a strong sub pool. We are aggressively looking to add to that pool. So we did share out last week in our update that information. We certainly understand that that doesn't fit everyone, but I do appreciate that I know some in our community are interested potentially in helping out that way and have a lot to offer. Despite, though, substitutes across the system, there are days when the number of open positions is significantly higher than the number of substitutes that we have available. That is the nature. I have shared that concern in updates, and I have shared with parents and with our community that we all will need a backup plan. I don't make those decisions lightly. They weigh heavily on us because we want our children in school. And yet, the concern about the distress of needing to close the school for inadequate staff is a significant concern. The concern is far greater that if, as a result of a short staff situation, a student or a staff member would be placed at greater risk. So I say that very seriously. These are the things that we have to think about when we're thinking about our situation. We will continue with our job fairs, and we will also, trustees, I've spoken with each of you, be realigning the Friday, Monday sub pay. Before the pandemic, there was a little bit more pay on Fridays and Mondays. When we upped all of the rates significantly last summer, we failed to keep that Friday, Monday extra in there. So we'll be putting that back in place as an additional strategy. because it is looking like Fridays and Mondays are turning out to be the most significant concern days. I have just a few more things to share, and then Ms. Losinski, Mr. Cluley have a couple of data slides that we will begin posting on the website, the exact data, so that our community can see transparently exactly where we are with covering positions each day. It is excellent news just yesterday on the progress of pediatric vaccines. I know we're all delighted to hear that we are moving closer in our efforts, all of our efforts to ensure that our children are vaccinated. Members of our team are already working with MDHHS, and we will be prepared at the right time when the state is ready to support vaccination efforts right here in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. We're excited for that next step. Our students and school teams are consistently following the COVID mitigation steps. I've really appreciated our school nurse and our health specialist team who are doing the case identification, the contact tracing, alongside the Washtenaw County Health Department. And in addition, trustees, you're aware, our team is out conducting COVID testing in various locations in the district every week. So that is occurring. It is occurring in response to particular situations at schools where we are able to get in there and support with additional steps as additional testing. Although we continue to see a high level of COVID transmission in the Ann Arbor community and in Southeast Michigan, we have, and unfortunately, we have observed some evidence of school transmission in some locations. We are now, however, in the second week of seeing a decline in cases in the Ann Arbor Public Schools. So you're aware, trustees, last week we were fewer than half of the prior week. And this week, again, of course, we don't close that window until tomorrow evening at 4:30, but to date, we are again at a lower rate this week. So we hope that that trend continues, and we know that that will have a positive impact on keeping our children in school, keeping our children and our staff and our families healthy and safe. Particularly as we move into the colder months with seasonal illness, it is more important than ever that folks remain home, students and staff, when experiencing COVID-like symptoms. In the cases that we are seeing, vaccinated students and vaccinated adults continue to be far less impacted by illness. Although, trustees, as we shared in our written update last week, we did see 6 breakthrough cases last week among staff. So we are reminding and encouraging those who are able to and qualify for it to get out and get the booster, because we are seeing that that is an important step for our staff members to take. Of course, we share our update every week with the COVID dashboard so folks are able to see exactly where and who and how many cases are occurring at each school and AAPS location. We do take the decisions to temporarily transition to remote learning very seriously, and we continue to prioritize in-school learning. However, when levels of staff illness and absence exceed the number of substitutes available, as they did on last Friday, and in one school on Monday, we will temporarily move to a virtual setting in order to make sure that our situations in the district are safe. Last Friday, and if you would go ahead and pull up that slide, we were faced with more absences than any day of the previous 8 weeks. You can see on Friday, 503 absences, and we had about a 54.5% fill rate. That put us far beyond the ability to cover all of those positions. Now, trustees and community, the 503 is really across all positions. It's not just with our teachers. Just as a comparison, and again, we'll start posting this data. We absolutely post our data transparently. You can see if you look at a comparison date on Monday, 422. But of course, as I shared in my email update, the issue on Monday was in one particular school. It's not just the whole number of folks who are absent, but it also has to do, trustees, as you know well, because I update you daily, if those absences are concentrated in one team of the school or in a special needs support group, paraprofessionals or teachers, or if there is a group of absences that will dramatically impact the health and safety of students and of other staff in the building, then we are going to have to make a decision. Just by comparison, trustees, you can see yesterday, right here, back down to 372. And you see we're right up around a 69.6% fill rate. So when you look at data like that, you say, well, how are you filling the other 30%? Well, that is our staff. They are stretching across. They are using their planning period. We are all deploying into the buildings to support as much as we are able to. In that situation there, you can see, if you go back, Andrew, to the month view, and I know you can't see this particular picture, but trustees, you have it on board docs. The community can see it as well, and we'll have it posted on the website. You can see there a pattern on Fridays and Mondays. That's not unusual at all in a system to see that. And you can see that last Friday at 503 was the most significant day that we have had up to this time. It is the superintendent's responsibility to function the school district as a safe operation. So as much as we understand the distress, it is far better to ensure that our schools will be safe, and when possible, to avoid those overnight calls that are so difficult for families. So I hope that that data is helpful, and I appreciate the patience, and I want to give a shout out to everyone in the community, and especially to our school teams, because every school I'm in, every school that we get updates on every day, everyone is pitching in to do everything they can to bridge this gap. We believe with cases declining, with the pediatric vaccine coming, with our hourly rates aligned to be competitive across Ann Arbor in the region, we believe that we will pull through this time. But I also have shared in my email updates that this is a time where every family, and I know it's difficult, but I have said we need a backup plan. And I have said that because we knew that we didn't have the cushion, and that there are illnesses and life impacts that cause our staffs to be impacted in buildings. We are making progress together through this fall. The team is working incredibly hard to navigate this COVID time. We do believe that things are going to improve, and yet in the meantime, you will see my staff trustees presenting remotely this evening, and that's because we meet regularly at 9 p.m. and at 6 a.m. to review the data. We review the data hours in between those hours. That is what we're doing on an everyday basis to ensure that we can have our students in school on absolutely every day possible. I appreciate the opportunity to update you this evening and to share with our community. As always, we'll add in the Thursday data and share the superintendent's report out with the community with all of the data linked right there.